this working? Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. The title and theme of this presentation is How to Do Something That Matters. I'm going to start with the 10,000-foot view, and then I'm going to bring it back down to you, the individual. So let me paint you a picture. First, I'm going to start out with a little bit about myself, then how we got here, where we are now, and what I think we need to do going forward. So the year is 2007. I came home one day from college, and my brother told me, "You got to get out of there. I wish I could unlearn all of the things that I learned in there." And I trusted my brother, and I quickly dropped out of college. I realized very quickly that now I had to teach myself everything. There was no more teacher. There was no more trainer. It was up to me to figure out the world on my own. And luckily, I was an internet sleuth of sorts, so I looked to the internet to solve this problem. So it's 2007, and I'm over at my buddy's house, and we're in this period of discovery. And he told me about how he was walking the streets in Philadelphia the night before, and these dudes ran up to him and gave him a DVD. And we're sitting there smoking weed, and we're like, well, we got to watch this DVD. Why would you be on the street in the middle of the night running up to people telling them to watch a DVD? So we put it in. And the DVD was a documentary called Loose Change. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this documentary. It's a 9/11 truth documentary. It's about 2 hours long, and it basically talks about every possible conspiracy theory imaginable, specifically related to the September 11th attacks. And it was at that moment that I was like, yo, they've been lying to us for sure. It's kind of like the first time you smoke weed. You're like, wait, I thought somebody was going to come up to me in like a dark alleyway and try to convince me to do this. But it turns out it's actually quite a good time. So we start watching every conspiracy video imaginable, down every rabbit hole you could possibly travel. We went to Alex Jones, we went to InfoWars, we went to anything that you could possibly imagine. Lizard people. The moon is hollow. Ancient Sumerians. Aliens. Every possible path you could travel down, I traveled down. And of course, like any normal person, you're like, yo, these people are trying to kill us. They want to destroy the planet. There's lizards. They run the banks. Lizards in the banks. They're controlling the planet. They're coming for us. So I went on Facebook, and I was like, yo, do you guys not see this? Aliens, Sumerians, they seeded life. There might be aliens in Antarctica. Nobody's ever been there. Do you know anybody that's been there? Because I don't. So people started to think that I was crazy naturally, and people just started to ignore me. And I realized that this was not the way that I was going to solve it. And I realized that freaking out online and yelling at other people about how they didn't see what I could see was not the answer. It was not how I was going to solve anything. It was not how I was going to solve the world's problems. And I remember talking to my dad about it one time, and he was like, you got to understand that they've been doing this far before you were born, and they'll be doing it far after you die. And he's like, you just got to live the best life that you can. You got to do the best that you can, and you got to try to enjoy life as much as you can. So I was off it. And even though I knew the truth, certainly what I believed to be the truth, I continued paying attention to conspiracy theories, but I went about my life. I started a web development business from my laptop, and I became a full-time entrepreneur. And what anybody that's an entrepreneur knows, you know that you fail a million times. You research, you try, you fail again. So I'm working on my entrepreneurial business, and 2008 rolls around. And there's this financial collapse. Every person that I know that had gone to college and spent all of their money working for this degree to get this high-paying job out of college, was now out of college in a ton of debt, and they weren't getting offered that job that they were promised. And I was like, this is what they told us in that documentary. They're lying to you. It seemed like everything was out to get us. It was a trap. And now here you are watching it in 2008 in real time. You're watching the banks collapse. You're watching people lose their homes. You're watching people that worked their entire life to gain all of this wealth and value and prosperity, only to have it stolen away from them. And certainly there was plenty more conspiracy theories around that. So you look right back into it again. And then comes Barack Obama in 2008. And I had watched every conspiracy theory, and it's like, if you're not a Bush family Freemason doing some weird, creepy ritual in a cave or something at Yale, that you can't be the president. And here's this guy that came out of nowhere that kind of spoke to me. A young, charismatic individual that understood technology, understood marketing, understood branding, and understood social media, and figured out how to reach people like me that were sitting at home that felt like we just got robbed by the financial system, that felt like we got robbed by the college system, that felt like our boomer parents were so stupid because they didn't tell us what was about to come our way and how unfair the world actually was. So I was 18 at this point, and I cast my vote for Barack Obama. And I thought, finally, equality. This is my token. And I had never really realized how important race was. I grew up in Connecticut around mostly white people. I didn't understand the plight of other races. It was not really something that I thought much about. But I thought by placing my vote for Barack Obama was my chip towards the right direction for the American future. A good deed, as it were, and also perhaps not another lizard person vote that was sent by an alien or whatever was going to destroy the world, an international bankster, as it were. So I thought that was a good thing. And, over the next couple of years, I'm building the business, and I'm realizing that the more money that I made, the more taxes that I paid, and I started to take a second look at Barack Obama and the policies that were happening in America, and I'm like, something is not right about this. This is very strange. It's like this guy is doing the exact same things that everybody did before. The same robbery is happening exactly the same. I'm putting all this money in. I'm understanding more. But this guy actually isn't the savior that I once thought that he might be. So 2012 comes around, and for the first time ever, I see a politician that actually spoke to me in a real way. And that was Ron Paul. And I saw Ron Paul, and he was talking about money, about finances, about caring about the American troops, about bringing the troops home, about not being involved in all of these foreign wars. He talked about the Federal Reserve and the gold standard and all of the things that could have kept America very, very great that just chipped away at its greatness over time, that most people don't even take the time or know or understand. And I was like, all right, Ron Paul, this is the guy. And I didn't really have too much money at the time, but I donated to the Ron Paul campaign. I put my money in the box, and I felt good about it. And of course, naturally, because you never get a good thing the first time, Ron Paul loses and is out of the race. It was at this point that I realized these politicians are not going to save us. They're not here to do anything right. Here you have Ron Paul, a guy that's actually telling the truth for the first time. And this guy can't make it. He's too old. He's talking about end the Fed. He's talking about end the Department of Education, which most people couldn't even wrap their head around why that actually is a good thing. Getting rid of bureaucratic red tape and making the country a better place. A lot of people don't understand the depth of what this guy was saying because they watched the news, much like I did. So I decided I'm just going to make money. That's what I have to figure out how to do. I have to make as much money as I possibly can because I can't make any difference donating $20 to Ron Paul's campaign. So fast forward 4 years later, the business is continuing to grow, and all of a sudden, Donald Trump shows up on the scene, and it's 2016. And like most of you, unless you're, a little bit ahead of the curve. I was like, this guy sucks. I don't like what he's saying. He's mean. Every single person on every single news outlet was dogging this guy all the time. And if any of those documentaries or any of those rabbit holes or any of those alien conspiracy theories or anything else taught me something, it was that the truth is hidden. So I thought, why don't I give this guy a shot? Let me look into what he's saying. Let me pay a little bit more attention to the policies that he's actually putting out there. Could he actually be right? If everybody says that he's wrong, what if actually he is right? So I started looking into deeper the policies that he had, the things that he said about how the country should be run, believing in American exceptionalism, economic benefits, and how we would have so much winning that we would be tired of winning. And this to me was actually the winning formula. And I would watch The Daily Show or whatever other political pundit, and they would smear this guy every day. And I thought to myself, if it took me this long and this much convincing and this much thought and investment to come over to the other side, to actually say publicly that I support Donald Trump, imagine how difficult it would be for your average, everyday person to say that. I didn't have an office to go into where I had to face other coworkers. I didn't have a college campus to go to where people would insult me or make fun of me because I wore a certain hat or whatever. I was working at home on my computer, and I was accountable to nobody but myself. So I thought, how could this guy possibly win? There's lizard people in control. The aliens are in control. The international banking demons that are destroying the planet, they're not going to let this guy in. You got Hillary Clinton at the Javits Center in New York with the glass ceiling. And I could already imagine her horrendous speech that night about how here we are under the glass ceiling, and I'm shattering it. And luckily enough for all of us and the world, that didn't happen. And Donald Trump actually won. And it was then that I kind of realized that even I could become the president. That you didn't have to be a Bush family. You didn't have to be from some secretive bloodline. You didn't have to be an alien or a demon or a lizard person or whatever, or an international banking liar. You could actually be a business person. So this was inspiring to me. So I was like, well, let's see what he actually does. Could he actually come through on what he said he was going to come through on? So I sat back and ran my business, and I watched as things just, interestingly enough, got better. The economy got better. We didn't get into any new wars. Everybody's money seemed to be going up. The stock market was going up. And it seemed like we had actually finally turned a corner where something good could actually happen. And it seemed like we were cooking there for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, COVID comes in March of 2020. And I was like, this is what they talked about. This is what every conspiracy theory you've ever seen in your life talked about. The biomedical security state, forcing people to take shots, forcing people to have some type of passport so they could access a certain building. This is every conspiracy theory imaginable coming true right now. But Donald Trump is the president. I did not understand how this could be possible. So I'm watching him handling this, and I'm like, well, maybe there's something he can't do. Maybe when this new election comes around, it'll be the solution. Then he can get rid of Fauci. He can get rid of all these people, and all of our problems will be solved once he starts his second term. So I'm getting frustrated watching the electoral process as the election begins. And I couldn't help but laugh at how insane it was and how stupid it was that all the people on the other side were criticizing this guy. So it's June of 2020, and I'm kind of sitting here like, all right, we're locked down. I don't know what to do in the world other than wait for this to happen. And I figure that I don't have any meaning. There's nothing that I'm doing that's significant. There's nothing that I'm doing that matters. And remember, the theme of this is how to do something that matters. So I'm building websites, running my business like normal, but I still don't know what could I do that would actually matter. So I make a video on August 20th of 2020 about the DNC. And I make fun of Bill Clinton. I make fun of AOC. I don't think much of it. I posted on my Instagram page. I have 800 followers. It gets 65,000 views overnight. My account grows to 5,000 followers by the end of the day. And I'm like absolutely blown away. My life changes completely. And I looked at myself and I thought, could this actually be a place where I could say something that matters, that I could contribute back to the political discourse? Is this the thing that would actually matter? So I stopped building websites for clients and I started making videos every day. And from August 20th of 2020 until the election, I made a video almost every single day. And I was like, this is the time. It's hot. I'm getting 10, 20, 30,000, 50, 60, 100,000 views on every single video that I post. This is how I could contribute. Convince people to vote for Donald Trump, make them laugh about the other side, point out all of the insane hypocrisies of the left and all of these bad things that are happening in our country, and be a voice. And the election comes, gets closer, and I'm like, Joe Biden is basically like a dead meat bag. This guy's in his basement. He's doing rallies with a circle of 5 people. How could this dude possibly win? Yet somehow he actually managed to do it. And after he won, there was this period between the end of the election and Inauguration Day. So I went back to the conspiracy theories. I went back to all the boards. I went back to all the documentaries, and I'm like, what are they saying? What is Alex Jones saying? What are the truthers telling us about what's going on? And I mentioned this last year in my speech, but they were like, trust the plan. The military is in charge. Donald Trump is in a super secret bunker under the Vatican, and he's going to come and save us on Inauguration Day. And that didn't happen. And it was at that point that I kind of realized that none of these people can save us, not even Donald Trump. And how could I use the voice that I have developed in this very interesting period of time to actually do something that mattered? So, kind of on the heels of this loss, where Trump was now out, I took it upon myself to say, how could I make a difference in my own little way? I'm going to pay attention to everything. I'm going to watch every video. I'm going to watch read every press release, read every news article. I'm going to watch the White House daily briefing every single day, and I'm going to pay attention to what this guy is doing. And I'm going to point it out. So I slowly watched the complete devolution of this great country of ours happen week by week, day by day. And I thought that I paid a lot of attention to politics before, because I would listen to a couple of hours of a political podcast every week, and I thought I was tuned in. But when you watch this stuff for 40 hours a week, you realize you had no idea how deep it actually goes, how nefarious and how demonic and psycho these people actually are. So I'm watching all of these press releases, and I start to see people come onto the scene like John Fetterman. And for anybody that doesn't know John Fetterman, oh my God. This guy is he's basically a dead person. He had a stroke, and I feel terrible that this guy had a stroke, but this guy ran for senator in Pennsylvania, a 6-year position. And I'm like, there's absolutely no way that a guy who's mentally disabled and unfit for the job, that is like basically a bag of meat with a D in front of it, Democrat, meatbag Fetterman, could win as a senator. This dude is wearing gym shorts and a hooded sweatshirt to rallies. No respect for the people in the audience. I don't care if there's 5 people here. I would not step on this stage in a Carhartt sweatshirt. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't do that because I respect you. This guy's on television wearing a hooded sweatshirt and gym shorts because he doesn't care about you, because they basically put a D on a meat bag and heaved it over the line. This guy's a senator for the next 6 years. So I'm like, we have a D meat bag in office now, and they had said, wait for the midterms, guys. Just wait. Trust the plan. The military's in charge. Trump is in the Sphinx. He knows Nikola Tesla's grandfather. He time traveled here. It's on the book. Just wait, patriots. Just wait. And then we lost pretty horribly during the midterms. Barely got back, the Senate, or barely got back the House, but didn't get the Senate, whatever. And I'm like, they told us to trust the plan. They told us Trump is in charge. They told us to wait and sit on our heels. Don't worry, patriots, we got it. We're going to do it. Just buy a pillow or buy this stupid thing or buy Balance of Nature or buy the Relief Factor and stick it on your balls and it'll cure all that ails you. And I was like, yo, these people are lying. Even the people on our side are lying. I'm sick of these people. I'm watching Fox News, and it's like Tucker will give the most thought-provoking, well-orchestrated explanation of what's going on, and then he'll be like, we'll be right back. And then Larry Elder will like fly in on a speedboat, and he's like, no, eat Balance of Nature. You'll feel young again. And then Mike Huckabee will come on, and he'll be playing the guitar, and he's like, oh, hey, Patriots, just eat a handful of these pills, and you'll feel good just like me. I'm like, these guys are all full of shit. Yeah, it's true. So thank you. So that's the applause line. Full of shit. Yeah. So what I realized from all this is that in order to do something that matters, what do I see now? You see Tucker, the most popular television host, I think in history, get canceled by Fox News and taken off the air at this critical election moment. You see James O'Keefe from Project Veritas running an undercover operation that secretly records people doing nefarious things and exposes them. That was raising over $20 million a year from an organization that he founded from the ground up. And you see Tucker get kicked off the air, and you see James O'Keefe get removed from his organization. And this just reminded me and proved to me that it doesn't matter how good you do it or how far you get or how big you build it, they're always coming for you. And it doesn't matter how far we get, but there's always going to be this adversity. So, knowing that's the case, I started to think about what could I do? How could I participate? And I was making videos online, and they were funny, and I was enjoying them, and I was laughing, and people were laughing, but I'm like, how do I really do something that makes a difference other than paying attention, other than talking about what's happening day to day? And I started to get kind of discouraged by it. Because you see the country just falling apart right in front of your face. And all the people that do all of the good things, they cancel those people. They remove those people. They push those people out of all the great things that they built. And it just reminded me of all these times in history where great people have been pushed away from something that was correct, only to have this triumphant return later. So, I started to think about what could I do that mattered, considering all of these things. And I took an assessment and an analysis of the world at large. And this is basically what I could see. There is a shadowy group of international banksters that run the entire planet. There's about 100 people, most likely white men, that sit at the top of this organization. They run all of the investment firms and all of the banking organizations and all of the international food organizations, water organizations, all of the pharmaceutical companies, all of the pill makers, the distributors, all of the hospitals. Every single thing from the top to the bottom, including the political system, is corrupt from the inside out, from the top to the bottom. And there's a few good people in there, but there's actually less good people than there are bad. And a lot of the answers for why things happen in the world is because there's money behind them. So you know that we don't know what happened in the 2020 election. We don't know how much of it was stolen, how much of it wasn't, how much of it was rigged, how much of it wasn't. We know that the mainstream media industrial complex does not have our interests at heart. We know that the food that they feed us is complete poison, ups every single way from the top to the bottom. Try to order food after 10 o'clock at night, it's pure poison. And so many people are willfully ignorant to what's happening around us in the world. It seems like every possible pylon is on our back at the same time. So you got the corrupt politicians, you got the corrupt banks, you got the media industrial complex that's telling you how to think. They're lying to us about racism. They're lying to us about white supremacy. They're lying to us about everything, including earlier today where they're lying to us about our own history. And even the people that represent such good parts of history, they lie about them. So in the face of all of this lying, what do? How could you possibly make a difference? How could you possibly do something that matters in front of all of this bad stuff? In front of all of these bad people doing all of these bad things. And that's when I kind of realized it. How to do something that matters means that you're just doing the absolute best yourself. My friend Andy Frisella has this quote that I absolutely love, which is, "Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion." Really interesting quote. Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. What does that mean? It means that we do the hard work of improving our mind. It means we do the hard work of improving our physical body. It means we do the things that are difficult for us in our daily life. If you want to solve the world's problems, you have to first conquer yourself. Now, interestingly enough, all of the things outside of yourself solve themselves once you start doing that work internally. The most patriotic thing that we can do, the thing that we can do that matters the most, is to be the best version of ourselves. That's the best American thing that we can actually do. It's change what you consume, change what you think about, change what you read, change where you spend your money, pay attention to what you eat, how frequently you exercise. Pay attention to the people in your immediate social circle and your family. And the patriotic thing that you can do, every single one of you can do, to turn back all of these terrible things, that all of these terrible people are coming for us, for our jugular, every single day. The most important thing you can do is protect yourself and make yourself the best version. Because what you do in your daily life, how you act, how you carry yourself, what you say to other people, what you think about, where you spend your money, the businesses you invest in, the events that you come to, the conversations that you change, the discussions that you have, these small things make the hugest difference of all. How you teach your neighbor, how you educate your child, how you educate people that are in your family. You changing the minds of a single person is actually the way that you defeat all of these other things. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So it's like, how we do something that matters is to simply focus on having personal excellence. Get your mind right, get your money right, and change the conversations of the people around you. Think about Tom, for example. It's like, Tom is not running for office right now, yet he's changing the minds of thousands upon thousands of people at these schools, the children, the future of America. He's playing his part. He figured out where he had a strength. He figured out where he had a gift. He figured out where he was special, and he leaned into it 100%. And in a lot of ways, what he's doing is, of course, a business, but very altruistic as well. It's for the country. It's for his family. It's talking about how he loves his marriage. These things make a difference, and make a difference. My voice just cracked. Ah! But these things make a difference. So it's like, if you change one person's life, you ostensibly can change the entire world. If you start with yourself, that's how it all happens. And last night, Dr. Peter McCullough had said that people always ask him, you know, you took all these risks, you took all the arrows for everybody, through all this scrutiny, you know, was it worth it? And he said, if it saves one person's life, it's worth it. So, what does that mean? Peter McCullough didn't have to decide to take those arrows, yet he did. And think about how many people he's touched around the entire planet as a result of that single decision. And it's like even somebody like me, who's a relatively insignificant social media person, a guy that was yelling at his computer that didn't really think much of it. It's like my videos have been seen probably somewhere near 50 million times. And I'm just one guy. But I decided to do something that I believed mattered. I decided to say, this is what matters. No amount of money is going to give me the satisfaction that somebody here being like, yo, that really hit me. That really touched me. One person. That is far more valuable than any of the things I've ever done for money. And money is important, don't get me wrong. But it's the purpose. It's the how to do something that matters. That's the thing that really lights us up. That's the thing that makes me want to come on a stage like this and talk to one person, 5 people, 500 people, 5,000 people. Because all great movements start with a single decision. All great people were once average folks that decided to be great. So, if I could leave you with anything, it would just be that doing something that matters is a conscious decision. And if you don't know exactly how to do something that matters, what you have to do is figure out how to make yourself the best version that you can be, and it will come to you naturally. All of the great things that ever happened to me in my life have been because I was searching for something more. I was searching for purpose, even when I didn't know where it would be. But I kept just plugging forward. But it's the little conversations. You don't have to have a microphone. You don't have to have a social media account. You don't have to be a senator to change the way that the world works. You don't have to be a politician or a public figure to change people's minds. So what you need to do is lean into the thing that you are strong at. It could be writing a song, writing a poem, recording your audio of your voice. It could be going and volunteering. It could be coming to an event like this, volunteering for an event like this. It could be doing something like Tom does. As long as you're focused on improving yourself, focusing on your personal excellence, with the country in mind and all of the great people that live here, and you know that even though there's demons absolutely everywhere coming for us at all times, figure out the strength that you have, narrow in on that one strength, and understand that that is patriotism. You telling people how to eat better food. You telling people how to exercise better. You telling people how to grow their social media account. You tell people how to educate their children. You educating somebody else's child, or you educating a kid in your neighborhood. All of these things matter. And the sum total of a lot of everyday average folks deciding to do really great things is a better world and is a better America. And that is how you do something that matters. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for coming to this event. It really does mean a lot. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. You're awesome.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.